Watch TV or YouTube videos perhaps, chances are you've come across a video where there's somebody who is interviewing a couple or a person about their finances. And typically the reason those people are talking to somebody about their finances is because it's not going well. Things aren't going good. And so number one thing that comes up in those interviews is, well, why? What's the problem? Why do you think you struggle? And 9 times out of 10, what those people say is that nobody ever taught them how to manage their money. Nobody taught them how to organize their bills, how to save, or how to invest. What I want to do today is give you resources that you can use so that you can feel like you're better off than those people who just still aren't sure and are kind of floundering around. So let's get into it. Hi, I'm Jamie, and I like to help busy moms and families feel better about their money and use it in a way that benefits them, whatever that might be for your family. Now, as someone who came from a situation where my family was living paycheck to paycheck and flipped that all around and got us to a point where we're booking not just one, but 2 cruises that we're going to go on just this year alone, trust me, you can get there because I made it there too. So what I want to do is I want to give you some resources today that are going to help you feel better about your money. So the 4 resources I'm going to give you today are books. And as old school as that sounds, studies have shown that wealthy people prioritize reading, as even billionaires like Elon Musk and Warren Buffett report reading up to 3 hours a day just to get smarter. And they cite reading as a big piece of their success. So not only will I talk about the 4 books that changed my life and my finances, but I'll also have a really special bonus honorable mention book at the end of the video. So make sure you stick around to check it out because it really is a great way to elevate your monthly cash flow. So for each of these books, I'm just going to have a quick 30-second synopsis and then my key takeaway. So the first book I want to talk about is The Psychology of Money. Now, this book really quickly just explains kind of what goes on in your brain, like chemically, and also the subconscious kind of feelings and things that we have about money and how that may affect how we spend it, save it, invest it, things like that. So there's actually reasons behind it, chemical triggers that are going off in your brain, things like that. Pretty interesting. Now, the key takeaway for me was that how sometimes when I'm looking at something that I have then convinced myself I need to have, really isn't a need at all. It's actually a want. And that type of idea might support like the keeping up with the Joneses kind of mentality and thing that everybody always seems like they need to follow. And so this really helped like kind of explain that for me. And so now I feel better when I kind of find myself falling into some of those money traps of spending money that I really didn't want to spend or convincing myself that I have to do certain things with money when that isn't actually true. So once you get done reading The Psychology of Money and you actually understand more about how your brain kind of can trick you when it comes to finances, you've got to read the second book. This one, I just can't recommend enough. In fact, this is my second copy because I lent the other one out and it never came back. But Ramit Sethi, I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Amazing, amazing book. What Ramit does is he goes right through absolutely everything. He teaches you how to save money all the way through investing money, how to save for big expenses like weddings or your first car. And he just does a really good job of just like making you look at your money and saying, hey, what is it that I really actually want to spend it on? And that's the rich part. What is your rich life? And how is it that you can take the money that you do have and make sure it's being spent on those things and not just kind of going out the door? A key takeaway for this is I just love how he says, okay, save money, but not only does he just say save money, he tells you where to save it. And then he gives you steps on how to actually open those types of accounts, right? He also tells you to invest money and then doesn't just stop there. He'll go further and say, okay, well, here's some index funds and ideas and things that you should be looking at. And here's a type of account that you should open in order to do that. So he not only gives you answers to your questions that everybody has, but he also gives you the step-by-step to actually execute them. Awesome, awesome book. The next book I want to talk about is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I'm probably butchering that. Someone has walked away with my copy of this book, so I'll just paste it right here. But this book, what he talks about is the fact that he had a rich dad and a poor dad. So what his rich dad would do is he would invest, he would buy assets, he would make his money make more money. And then on the flip side, he had his poor dad who traded all of his time for money. And so basically, he kind of covers the lessons he takes from each of those people and combines them to kind of make it into what he is today. A key takeaway that I got from this book was that you could actually do different things with your money. It wasn't just as simple as, hey, it goes in the bank and that's it and just stays there till you want to buy something. Like, there's actually assets and things that exist. There's stuff in the world that you could put your money into and it will actually give you more money, and you don't have to go to work or trade your time in order to get those things. And so that was just game changing. It made me want to learn more about those types of things that I could put my money into and get some money back. And so the next book that I want to talk about is this one right here. It's called Just Keep Buying. And the main idea behind this book is that when it comes to buying things, particular stocks in the stock market, you just got to stick with it, right? So if you see the stock market go, ooh, just keep buying more shares, right? Because eventually it should go back up again. And it helps like kind of quell a lot of the fears that people have about putting their money into the stock market, right? Like, depending on how you were raised, you might have learned that the stock market is just gambling and that you're taking a really big risk if you participate into it. So I love this book because it really did take away a lot of those fears and kind of reassures you that, hey, it's okay. Like, and you're gonna naturally see your portfolio go down, and that's okay. So my key takeaway there is that, the stock market isn't as scary as it seems like it is. So once I learned that there were other assets from Rich Dad Poor Dad, I wanted to get into those things, and one of them was to buy more stock and to learn more about investing. And so this book just did a really good job of, again, making me feel better about putting my money into the stock market, making me feel better if I might see my portfolio take a little bit of a dip. Be aware that sometimes, not every stock just goes up and up and up, right? Some do disappear, but making good kind of choices and sticking with those choices for the long haul. All right, so as promised, I have my final bonus, my honorable mention that I want to give you. Financial topic. So read the first four first. And if you get this appetite for financial information like I did, this one's definitely going to help kind of feed that hunger that you have. So what this book is called is Covered Calls for Beginners. And so what this goes over with is how to execute covered calls in your investment account. So if you probably no idea what I'm talking about right now, but covered calls is it's an options technique that allows you to take stocks that you own and you write contracts on those, and then you get paid a premium for those contracts. So you can actually make pretty decent cash flow each month by doing this technique. Currently, I am making about $2,500 to $3,000 a month doing this. It's a combination of these and what's called the cash secured put. So again, I got really into like learning about assets and things, and I wanted to figure out how could I make some cash flowing assets that I could then use that didn't require me again to go find a second job or another 9 to 5. Now I do have to put a little bit of time in it, but honestly, the most time I probably spend on this in a day is about 30 minutes. So it's been really, really cool, and it's really helped me feel more confident with my money in general. So my key takeaway for this is that there are other options that you can use, like your stock portfolio, for example. You can learn more about, different trading strategies and just do more. And it really just opened my eyes that the stock market isn't just, okay, buy a stock, sell a stock, buy a stock, sell a stock, right? There's other options, there's other things out there. And so admittedly, I had to read this book a couple of times before it really made sense to me. And then I started small and I built up to it. So if any of these four books sound like something that might interest you, either to kickstart your financial journey or to just keep it rolling wherever you might be on it, I did put links to all four of them. Well, actually, all five of them in the description below so that you can either buy it if you'd like to, or remember, you can always go to like your local library and actually borrow these books instead. So there's no reason to spend any money if you don't want to. But if you really think that you might be, these are things that you're going to want to keep and have on hand, by all means, buy them, have them. You should see my library. It's insane. I've got way more books on money than just these five, but these are the ones that truly I felt like were the most life-changing when it came to, again, where my family's been able to come with money. So, you also can access YouTube videos. That's one of the big reasons why I like to make these. Like, I was able to change my mindset and my life so much that I had to start making videos in hopes that I could help somebody also make that great leap as well, whether it be through a book recommendation or just some of the things I've talked about in my videos. So if all that sounds really cool to you and you're finding this stuff helpful, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.